Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever considered that there might be, well, far more to reality than what we perceive, with our everyday senses?
Hmm.
What if the very foundation of our existence, maybe even our history, is influenced by forces we simply can't see?
It's a big question.
It is.
Yeah.
And today, we're embarking on a particularly intriguing deep dive. We've got this audio source shared by a listener from Truly Holistic,
Ah,
and it presents a really unique framework for understanding personal protection and maybe even humanity's cosmic role.
right.
So our goal today is really to unpack the core claims, look at the proposed methods for energetic protection within this material, and just give you a fresh perspective on these compelling ideas.
Yeah, and it's fascinating, isn't it, to explore how these like grand cosmic theories about existence can connect so directly to really practical personal
Yeah.
concerns, things like our safety, our well-being.
Yeah.
This material, it really makes you wonder, I mean, how do we even begin to approach information that so fundamentally challenges our conventional understanding of reality?
Absolutely. And the source, it dives right in with a pretty bold assertion. This idea that humans were created to be here
Right.
and that we're part of a much larger ongoing experiment orchestrated by external beings.
Okay, wow. Straight into it.
Right. It even claims that dinosaurs, like way back 65 million years ago, were part of an earlier experiment, specifically created by the reptilian beings. That's the quote.
Reptilian beings. Okay. And what was the point of that experiment, according to the source?
Well, the aim then apparently was to develop a higher consciousness level in creatures like raptors.
Raptors, like in the movies.
Exactly. And this is where the source makes a really provocative connection. It suggests that what it calls strips of disclosure information are really rampant in Hollywood, implying that films like Jurassic Park, deliberately embed these truths right there in plain sight. It's certainly a bold take on pop culture.
That is a striking claim, isn't it? And if we connect this to the broader narrative the source presents, it seems to describe this cosmic landscape where various advanced beings are, and I think the quote is, really big on DNA splicing and genetics and creating experiments.
Right, experiment.
Yeah, and the incredibly direct statement is that we are the rats to a lot of these beings' experiments.
Wow. Okay.
And it goes on to explain that while our physical body is merely our vehicle, we're kind of inherently limited within it.
Limited how?
Well, this is why the world we perceive as physical is, in the source's view, actually a matrix world. Our physical eyes, it argues, are confined to a very narrow spectrum of vision. It says we only see something like 0.05% of what truly exists around us at any given moment.
0.05%. That's tiny. Yeah. So if our perception is that limited, how does that play into this alleged manipulation you mentioned?
Precisely. That's the connection the source makes. It posits that this severely limited vision, well, it gives these beings that are controlling humanity and put us here in the first place an easy way to manipulate us.
Okay, so our limited view makes us easy targets, basically.
Yeah. And their primary objective, it suggests, is to keep humanity believing that they don't exist. That's like a key part of their control strategy. Keep us in the dark about them.
That brings us to another foundational concept in the source, this idea of an energetic battlefield. And it involves our souls.
Okay.
The source claims our energy body always lives on and never dies, which we call our source, which we call our soul. Okay, standard enough idea in some circles. But then what happens to that soul when we, pass away?
Well, this is where the claims become quite profound. The source posits that if these beings gain control of that source or that soul.
Gain control.
Yeah, that's the term used. Then they can, apparently at their discretion, send our source of soul back to another planet that they reign upon, that they control.
Why? What's the purpose?
The purpose. To be inserted into, again, another body or vehicle that they can manipulate again.
Manipulate again. To what end?
To create the sustaining energy that they feed off, which is called luch.
Luch. L-U-C-H. So if our soul can be recycled this way, it begs the question, what is this luch? And how does the source describe its connection to our own, energetic presence?
That's a critical element, yeah. The source introduces luch as this specific form of energy. Usually, it seems, the byproduct of negative human emotions and experiences. Fear, anger, that sort of thing.
Okay.
It explains that there's things happening around us all the time energetically that our physical eyes can't perceive, but that we feel it if we become very energy sensitive.
You feel it even if you can't see it.
Right. And this leads to the intriguing claim about individuals referred to as light workers.
Light workers.
Hmm.
Okay, and why are these light workers singled out in this scenario?
Well, the source suggests that certain individuals, specifically those it calls light workers, people maybe dedicated to spiritual growth, positive, energetic influence, that they often face more intense attacks from these beings.
Attacks. Why them specifically?
Because, as the source puts it, these individuals are delving into something that these beings don't want us to. Remember their trump card?
That they don't exist, to
Yeah.
stay hidden.
Exactly. So the source emphasizes that light workers are, quote, investigating the real truth of where we come from, why we're here, and so on, and they don't like it. Basically, they're shining a light where these beings prefer darkness.
Okay, so given these pretty profound claims about, humanity's origins, these subtle energetic influences, the next natural question is, how do we protect ourselves?
Right.
The source seems to offer maybe a two-pronged strategy, starting with our internal state.
Yes, that seems central.
It emphasizes that the most powerful thing we can do is when we get crises in our life, challenges in our life, we really need to respond in a proactive way instead of in a negative way.
Mm-hmm.
And it points to specific negative energies that, if we generate them, only feed the problem. Things like jealousy, greed, self-centeredness, hatred, fear.
Yeah, the core insight there seems to be that if we're going to be creating these things like jealousy, fear, anger, we're actually only feeding the problem. It becomes like this whole vicious cycle.
Right, you're giving them what they want.
Precisely. And the source offers a clear antidote. It says if they're giving off fear, which is one side of the spectrum, and the opposite is love, okay, we need to be challenging everything and giving everything with unconditional love. It's all about vibrating at that particular higher frequency. Love, basically.
So it's not just about trying to avoid negative energy, but actively generating positive, high vibrational energy, like love.
Exactly. The source argues that this internal response, radiating love and high vibration, maybe combined with other protective measures we'll get to, is profoundly powerful because, yeah, by giving in to negative energies, you're literally strengthening their cause. You're providing them with the lech they require.
Okay, that makes sense within this framework. So beyond this internal resilience, the truly holistic source also introduces external tools for protection.
It does, yeah.
One key concept it discusses is a firmament, like an energetic barrier.
Mm-hmm.
It's described as being like a dome around the earth, okay, or a bubble. But for personal protection, the source explains, you can apparently just intend that part of the body to have a firmament around it.
Intend it, like mentally create it.
Seems so. So that entity cannot get access in. Now, it does acknowledge that some entities might be, really persistent. It says eventually they rupture the firmament to try and get in.
So it's not foolproof necessarily.
Apparently not always, but it can still provide protection for days, according to the source, or even cause entities to just give up and leave.
Interesting. And there was another idea too, wasn't there, about programs?
Yes, that was intriguing.
Hmm.
Setting up programs to protect or resist from particular entities. Almost like installing positive code into your energetic system.
Right, like software for the soul almost.
Sort of. The source calls this a work in progress, but it certainly points to a fascinating, frontier. And then beyond these more conceptual tools, the source also details actual physical tools for protection.
It does, which brings us to...
Orgonite. Tell us about that.
Right. The source basically asks, beyond our internal state, what physical tools are proposed for protection? And it details Orgonite. It says it's made of certain metal shavings and metals. People put crystals in them as well. And then you cover it with a resin.
Okay, I think I've seen things like that. What's it supposed to do?
The claim is that it's designed to transmute negative energy into positive energy, turn the bad stuff into good stuff, energetically speaking.
And how to use it.
Well, the source provides examples of its practical use, suggesting planting it around my house and around my treatment room, or even placing it by your Wi-Fi router. Areas associated with energy fields or potential negativity.
Okay, interesting. And then for boosting that Orgonite's power, the source introduces something called crystalline geometry tools, specifically mentioning sun rings. What are those about?
Yeah, the sun rings. Apparently, it looks like the sun, right? The design of the sun, and this is a broadcaster. That's how the source describes it.
A broadcaster. What is a broadcast?
Well, the source explains that whatever you put within this ring, you increase the circumference or the radius of the power of that Orgonite, and it will fill out many rooms or the whole house. So it amplifies the Orgonite's effect.
Wow. Okay. So you put the Orgonite inside the sun ring.
Seems like it. And the intentional aspect is key here, too. It says you can use these with intent. So you can put that together like that, and you can make energy changes within your body and just use intention and words. You can even put, like, little notes within it with a photo of that particular person.
So it's not just about what you put in them physically, but what you intend with them while using them. That feels like a powerful combination.
Absolutely. But there's another piece to this which is important and something the source clarifies. It's that tools like crystals or even Orgonite can apparently absorb energies.
Ah.
They absorb good, but they also absorb bad energies, and you need to clear them out. They get energetically dirty, so to speak.
Okay, that makes sense. How do you clear them?
This is precisely where the neutralization ring comes in. It's another one of these geometry tools. The source recounts, when I used to use a pendulum or pendulum dowsing, I'd always, at the end of a particular client session, I place it within the neutralization ring, just let it sit for 5 seconds, and that will neutralize anything negative within the crystal.
Just 5 seconds. That's quick. So it's about not just creating the positive energy with the Orgonite and sun ring, but also regularly clearing out any accumulated negative stuff with the neutralization ring.
Precisely. The source really emphasizes that combining these two, the Orgonite and these crystalline geometry tools, becomes very powerful, very powerful. These geometries, it says, just broadcast the energy out further, and that can help by protecting you from negative energies as well, and just enabling and transmuting that negative energy back into positive energy.
So, okay, wrapping this up,
Yeah.
what does all this mean for you, our listener, trying to make sense of this? This deep dive has offered a truly unique perspective on energetic protection. It draws from this cosmic history, this idea of human experimentation, and presents these really practical tools you might consider. The source really stresses that two-pronged approach, doesn't it? First, strengthening your internal energetic state, with love, positive responses to challenges.
Right, that internal work.
Yeah. And then maybe utilizing external tools like these firmaments, the Orgonite, and the crystalline geometry.
Yeah, and this whole deep dive, it truly prompts us to maybe re-examine our everyday perceptions, doesn't it? If, as the source suggests, we only perceive such a tiny fraction, that 0.05% of what truly surrounds us.
It's a startling thought.
It is. It compels us to consider what other dimensions, what unseen influences might be actively at play in our reality, things we're just not equipped to sense yet. And, well, what could that imply about the very nature of our daily experiences?